And we have this, in the campaign space in the UK, we use this thing, 1 in 4. 1 in 4 people will have a mental health condition. And I've been trying to persuade people to get rid of that. The way to campaign on this is 1 in 1. 1 in 1 of us has mental health. And sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's less good, but we all have it. And that's what takes you into the preventive space. If we all understand we all have our own mental health, then we can start to do the things that we can do for ourselves. And I won't explain it now, but I've written a whole book about the tactics that I've developed to deal with my own mental health struggles. You know, including in one of the most stressful jobs that is known to man, which is being the kind of communications director to a prime minister of a country that used to be really serious before Brexit. And so I think you have to put those things together. And I've invented this word. I've invented a word. I'm obsessive with Shakespeare. And if you're ever bored, just go online and Google words and phrases first used by Shakespeare, right? We all say dozens of them every day, okay? I've invented a word which I am determined to get into the Oxford English Dictionary. And the word is perseverance. Perseverance, which is not just perseverance, and it's not just resilience. Perseverance is not just keeping going, because you know actually that ultimately there has to be change in this space, but it's also learning and adapting from the setbacks. You've just had, I mean, I'll try not to be too political about your government, having been quite political about my country, but I do think in Australia, my experience, I remember coming out here when in Victoria when they were doing the Mental Health Commission. I thought it was one of the best pieces of work I've ever seen in this area. I know the work that you guys have done, the Federal Mental Health Commission. And I just sort of feel that in both our countries we've gone backwards. We've gone backwards. Now, how do you go forward? You go forward by people in leadership deciding we're going to lead you in a forward direction. And what we all have to do is to push them. And honestly, the more you push, the more in the end they will go. And we can all be involved in that. That's why ultimately this is a campaign, and it's a campaign that we should all be very, very proud to play a part in. Because ultimately, we will get to a place where people will say, did it really used to be that you thought that somebody who had schizophrenia was likely to be a murderer? Did we really used to live in a world where we thought it was okay for people with mental illness to live on the streets? Did we really used to live in a world where people had medication which took 20 years off their life? Now, I am utterly convinced, maybe by the time I'll be dead, but I'm utterly convinced that there will come a time where we will look back at mental health service provision that we've endured for decades and centuries and will think that was not a mark of a civilized society. So that's what we're to go for. We keep the vision thing, we get perseverance, and eventually you batter down the doors of government.